So I wanted to come and do an interview. And I did not want to cancel this interview because I feel like crap today. But good thing we have the person that helps me not feel like crap all the time here with me. So I have good old Dr. Carrie. I've been diagnosed with MS for 2 years, and Dr. Carrie has been on this journey with me for probably like the last year,
Mhm.
about a year. Me and her. She's been working with me, trying to keep me together. I love her because she deals with all my foolishness. And she is just amazing. The spirit of this woman helps my journey through dealing with MS, and then even going back and forth with Western medicine and naturopathic medicine and all these different things. So here, I just want to give Dr. Carrie the floor, and let people know, like, I do have someone I talk to about my MS. I'm not just not taking medicine. Like, I actually do stuff. So, okay, Dr. Carrie, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me, Virginia.
Yes. So just tell us about going holistic and dealing with patients who have MS and these chronic diseases, and just lay it out for us. I don't care
Okay.
what you talk about.
So first, I just want to briefly explain what my title means and what I do, right? So I am a naturopathic doctor, which means that I am trained basically um, in learning the rigors of science plus the healing power of nature. So when I went to medical school, I learned all of the basic science stuff. I was in the anatomy lab. I remember I calculated. We did 450 hours of anatomy training in medical school. And so we have that. We've got physiology, biochemistry, immunology, the list goes on, all the ologies, including pharmacology. So I do have a little bit of background in pharmaceuticals. And then the second half of my education is more on the natural side. So learning all of the botanicals and the homeopathy and nutrition and just how to marry those two together so that, like you said, I can provide a more holistic approach to people's health concerns. And so one of the things that is really commonly known about us is we do use supplements, but that's not all. Depending on where you live, we have, our licensure varies from state to state. And so some states, naturopathic doctors can actually prescribe medicine and we will use it, right? If there is a need. But we also have a principle in this field that we will do the least amount of harm. And so that's why we start with natural things first. The other thing that I emphasize a lot are basics, what I call the basic fundamentals of health. And so that's stuff like your diet and, how much water are you drinking, and are you sleeping? Are you moving your body? Are you stressed out and not doing anything um, to mitigate that stress? Because those, again, are the foundational pillars of health. And if you build your house on a shaky foundation, it's going to crumble regardless
Mhm,
of
mhm.
whether you are trying to treat whatever's going on with medicine or even natural things. So um, that's what I do. And I'm also an acupuncturist, but I won't go too deep into that. But yeah, so what drew me to naturopathic medicine is the fact that I had this epiphany when I was younger in undergrad, and I didn't want to be on the medicine I was on, and there was no other options that were available. Like I asked my doctors and they said, no, you just stay on this medicine. And I didn't want to stay on it.
Mhm.
Um, and so anyway, when I found out what naturopathic medicine was, it literally was just like a puzzle piece fitting into the puzzle because it's exactly what I wanted. So that's what I do. Obviously, I'm passionate about it and I love it. But
And
the
like, I get it, as your one of your patients. Like, I get it. Like, I love coming to see you because I'm like, she gonna make me feel good. Like, and she gonna tell me about myself, but she gonna make me feel good too. Like, we gonna get some breakthrough. Like, I'm not leaving your office like, well, that was a waste of time, or she just pointed me in these empty directions. And like, as you will feel if you go to your regular PCP, like, I went to so many doctors and got empty answers. Like,
Yeah.
well, your blood works look good. But sir, I've been having this headache for 2 months. Like, what do you mean? Like, give me something. And I think a lot of people with chronic conditions kind of get to the point where you just like, I'm tired of seeing people and you're not giving me no answers. So like that was my breath of fresh air when we started working together. It's like, oh, she actually gonna give me some stuff. Now, if I do it or not, that's a whole nother thing. But I know I have the tools and everything when I'm ready to go
Yes.
ahead and start doing certain stuff. So yeah, so the passion, the love, I feel like it'd be helping me heal too. Cause I'm like, yep, I gotta go see Dr. Carrie because I don't got time to be feeling sick and I'm tired of feeling sick. So I need somebody to love on me, but also tell me like how we gonna get through this because I'm tired.
Yes, yes. And thank you for saying that because that is my intention always. It's part of the reason why I love what I do because we get to go together on this journey and I get to support you as best as I can, um as much as you need because that's the other beautiful thing is that right I feel like I'm your partner in health. I'm not your dictator in health,
Mhm,
if you will.
mhm,
So as we have, or as me and any of my clients talk about, well, what are we going to do? What's the plan going to be? I always want your opinion and I always want you to tell me how you're feeling about it. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you're the one that has to do it. I can recommend it and I can give you tips and tricks and whatever support you need, but you're the one that has to make good food choices, or you're the one that has to open up the supplement bottle or the medication bottle. In general, your health is totally yours. And so I'm glad that when you need me, I can boost you up a little
I was
bit.
gonna say you be there. So it is the last day of MS Awareness Month, and I am really gonna try to put this video out today. But so let's talk a little bit about MS and how that can look for someone who's looking for treatment holistically.
Mm-hmm. So MS in general, this is going to be real basic, but MS in general is a progressive generative disease that affects the brain and the spinal cord. Um, and so it's what they call a neurodegenerative disease, right? And so your nerves, think of this is going to date me a little bit, but think of a even think of a cable cord, right? You remember those black cable cords back in the day when we had the box TVs? But
Not the
think of
smart
the
TVs that you can just click on stuff and
exactly, and
you
you
gotta
don't
make
need
sure
no
you got the
cords to
signal.
connect
Right.
anything. But think of that cable cord, right? Inside the cord is the wire that actually carries the signal. So our nerves are kind of similar in that the nerve itself is inside of a sheath, and the sheath is made of something called myelin. And so myelin is like the black covering of the cord. The only difference in my analogy in nerves is that that covering of this myelin sheath that covers our nerves is actually what helps conduct the signal, the electric signal, down the nerve path or down the nerve way, if you will. And so in MS, that black cord starts to be eaten up or it starts to get destroyed. And so now you've got Swiss cheese black covering over your nerves, and it basically is not it's not a constant homogenous thing. Now it's broken up in pieces, and so that affects the way that your body conducts the signals from your brain to the rest of your body. And so symptoms of MS are vast. It all depends on your individual I don't want to say destruction, but your individual nerve destruction, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the part of the brain that's affected is the part of the brain that controls movement to your lower legs, right, then you may notice that you have difficulty walking, or what we would say is that you have an ataxic gait meaning the way that you walk, right? So you're not walking in the typical way. There's something that's wrong, right? Or a lot of times, like you even mentioned, headaches,
Mhm.
eye visual changes, right? Weird stuff too. Sometimes like random sensations or perceptions of sensations of things that aren't there.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
Again, anything. So you can literally have any neurological symptom because potentially you could be having damage in any part of your brain and or your spinal cord. And so other things that are common are depression, right? Or even anxiety, um, just a feeling of fatigue and just lethargy, like you're not really wanting to do anything. Um, I've ran into commonly some of my clients have bladder dysfunction, right? Because the nerves going down to the bladder are being affected.
When I was first diagnosed, I kept getting bladder infections. Like I kept getting bladder infections. I'm like, why do I keep getting these bladder infections? But that symptom went away. It was just like you said, it just be weird stuff that just start happening because of whatever, wherever it's triggered, wherever
Hmm.
it's triggered. And then also like the spine, you got to think if it's close enough to that, to what, your pelvic area, or to wherever your bladder, like, yeah, it's, yeah, yeah.
Yep. So it definitely is something that I believe people that have MS definitely benefit from a more holistic and individualized approach just because of that fact.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely don't want to come through with a blanket treatment plan because everybody's experiencing something different. And
It's
I'm
the
thinking,
snowflake disease.
yeah, it is. It is.
So we can't have a template treatment. Like we got snowflakes. Like, yeah.
Right. And I mean, don't get me wrong. So there are certain things that I do or that I prioritize when I see someone that has MS. Like I said, it's a neurodegenerative disease. So the first thing in my educational or what I learned from school basically is to assess what's going on, right? So I already told you the nerves are degenerating, the nerves are being destroyed. And um from a conventional medical perspective, I don't think it is truly understood as to why the nerves are being destroyed, right? So we don't know exactly the cause, but what we do know is that nerves are being destroyed. And so anytime anyone comes to me with MS or any sort of a neurodegenerative disease, the first thing we're going to do is focus on supporting the nervous system. Like, makes sense to me. Um, a lot of times they will conventionally they may say that certain diseases are irreversible, or they won't even mention anything about reversal of symptoms. But again, in my experience, I have seen some people his symptoms improve.
Mm-hmm.
um
Mm-hmm. The
I'm think
I read an article on regeneration. Yeah,
Yes.
like of the nerves, like, okay, the nerve got degenerated, like it could be regenerate, like, and it was talking about just the different stuff. I think they were trying to push a medicine, so I stopped listening after. Like once they be like, oh, this is good, then they start pushing medicine. I'm just like, okay, now y'all, like,
Off.
I want to know all of that, but I don't want y'all to be like, okay, now go try this, or go take this medicine, or go ask your doctor. I don't know. I don't want to. But okay.
Well,
Yeah.
a quick aside about what you just said. I commend you for that, and I wish more people would do that, right? It's not up to you to know all the drugs that are out there or
No.
the all the natural things that are out there and then have to go ask your doctor should you
Mm-hmm.
be on something like this. That's the whole point of having a doctor, is that's their area of
You
expertise.
supposed to be
So
telling me. Like, you supposed to be telling me,
exactly.
like, this is new research. Go look this up. Go, like, you look at this all day. Like, what's up? See, that's
Correct.
why. No, I'm one of them people. Like, that's your job. I'm about to make you work for your job. Like, you about to work. I'm not about to
Yes, you
be.
do.
I can't be the patient, the nurse, and the
And the
doctor. Like
doctor,
that's what I
right?
used to yell in these hospital rooms. Like I'm not about to be the patient, the nurse, and the doctors. So y'all about to hear my mouth until y'all give me what I need instead of letting me sit in the ER for hours without giving me anything and then want to wake me up in the middle of the night and here you come. Oh yeah, we gotta fix this. I told you that at 6 o'clock this morning.
Right. You could have been
Tired.
fixed, or you could have at least been started. No, don't even get me started on
Like
hospitals
I said,
and
I can digress on that. Like we could go on and on about that. You know how we get about
I know,
it.
and I'm with you. One
Yeah.
thing I will say. So again, there's a time and a place and for everything. One thing I always like to share is that naturopathic medicine is not the antithesis of conventional medicine, meaning that we are not at war with each other. At least I'm not. There are times when you need to go to a medical doctor. If I get hit by a Mack truck, don't bring my body to my office. I the body is broken in some way, right? Like I mean, my legs are broken or something. Who knows? I'm hemorrhaging internally. Yeah, I need to go to the ER. If your blood pressure is 200 over 100, herbs ain't gonna do it right away. So you need to go and get some medication so that you can get stabilized, right?
Mhm.
But the beautiful thing about naturopathic medicine and just holistic medicine in general is that it's complementary. So there are things that you can do together. You can do to support. Sometimes it improves what the medicine does. Sometimes it reduces the symptoms that come from the medicine. And so anyway, we are not we're not anti medicine when we're not anti hospital and anti conventional medicine. But again, it's just a time and a place. So
Yeah.
with that being said, so coming back to like options for care. And so one of the other things that I've neglected to mention is, like I said, we are experts in supplements, but we are also experts in what's called drug nutrient or drug supplement interactions. And so I think that's an important thing to highlight because, again, people tend to be researchers sometimes and they like to go on the internet and they see some information. And I'm not talking about anyone in specific because I don't think you've done this, not to me. Um, but they'll go online and they'll see every option that they can
Mhm.
find and they want to put themselves on all of it.
All of it.
And
Like you
so
have,
I'm
but it's the instant like, oh crap, like I got this thing, I gotta fix it, I gotta fix it, I gotta fix it. And like you said, it's a you can't put certain combinations with certain stuff and
right,
then certain
right.
stuff cancel certain
Yep,
things. Like,
yep.
yeah. So I learned that the hard way. I didn't do it with you, but I did it before. Like I learned the hard way. Like you just can't be taking everything and then
No, you can't, which
no.
is why it's important to have somebody that knows, right? So that they can guide you. And a lot of times, again, from a conventional perspective, I'm actually thinking of another client. He has high blood pressure. We started doing some stuff, it was going down. And then he
Mhm.
recently reached out and was like, yeah, what about this herb? And what about this? And what about this? And I was like, sir, you're already seeing improvement. The
Mhm.
thing that I think people truly don't understand too about natural or holistic support is that it ain't happening overnight. I got to be honest. It's not happening overnight. And if anybody is telling you that they're going to fix you in a certain amount of time,
It's
they
far.
can't guarantee that. Potentially they could, but I don't like to give people false hope or give them false information, right? Because hello, I'm taking a holistic perspective. And so
Mhm.
if I start telling you something and it becomes not true or it starts to look like it's not going to be true,
That
that can
tank. Yeah.
totally affect your mental um mind, and you that affects how your body
Mhm.
heals, how it works. If you start to get depressed because somebody told you were going to get fixed in 2 days and now it's 21 days later and you're still not fixed, again, that just will affect how the rest of the progression of healing. So anyway, I say that to say, please, if you're going to start doing things from a natural perspective, you have to give it time. Disease does not manifest overnight usually, and neither does healing. You got to give your body time to utilize the resources and the things that you're giving it so that it can do what it needs to do. So with that being said, this is what we do when I have clients that come with MS. And so, like I said, it's a neurological disease. So let's support the nervous system. But we're not just going to start with a whole bunch of supplements. We're going to start with the basic stuff, like I mentioned. So it is. I'm sure your followers in the community is very aware of Dr. Terry Walls, who was a medical doctor. She had MS herself. It was so bad she was confined to a recumbent wheelchair, which are the ones that lean you back. You're not even sitting straight up. And she has a whole TED talk about it on YouTube. But anyway, long story short, when I learned about her, she was doing the TED talk and she was standing. Um, and she was showing pictures of how she was in the wheelchair. And she talked about how she was back to riding horses. And she has a book, and a lot of her protocol involves diet. So basically, that diet is one that's anti-inflammatory in nature, right? So you want to make sure that you're eating whole foods. That's the food we're supposed to eat. Like, obviously, processed food and snacks and all of that stuff is convenient, but that's not, whether you believe in creation or evolution, that's not that's
It's not.
not part of the that's not it.
It's
Like,
not it. Yeah, it's not a
we're
part of
supposed to eat
the
of
formula.
the
Yeah.
natural way that things develop. That's just not it. So I'm not saying you can't enjoy stuff like that in
Hmm.
moderation, right? But the focus is you want to primarily be eating whole food. Um, and then you definitely want to take out things that are inflammatory, because inflammation, I do believe, is part of the disease mechanism in regards to MS.
Hmm.
And so, hello, you want to take out the sugar. You want to be mindful of the amount of caffeine that you're drinking. Again, avoid those processed foods and focus on more whole food. So, with that being said, that's general guidelines. Dr. Wall's protocol is actually, um, she focuses more on like a whole, she's got a whole balanced protocol. But anyway, the point is, lean meats, leafy greens, lots of vegetables. Honestly, that's a huge, huge, huge help in regards to MS, because again, part of this neurological, or all the body uses all of these different vitamins and nutrients that are found in all these foods. And so again, it's just a good way to make sure you're diversifying your diet and getting those nutrients in. But then the other thing that is kind of controversial is healthy fats or omega-3s or just fats in general, right? Um, there's a lot of misinformation about nutrition, and one of the things that is a part of that is fat, and how all of fat is bad and blah blah blah. It's not bad. Interestingly enough, we don't many people don't understand that you make hormones from cholesterol, right? So if you go and on a completely cholesterol free diet, you're going to start having issues with hormonal balance, because your body doesn't have its fuel to make it. Same thing with the nerves. Part of that myelin sheath is it includes fat in its composition. So anyway, that's another um, dietary thing, but then this is also something that you could supplement as well with, like a fish oil supplement or some cod liver oil or something. But if you do like fish, or even if you don't, I still would probably push it a little bit. So that's that's diet wise what I usually recommend. Again, and this is kind of across the board in general, but definitely diet is a big part. And then the other things that I like to recommend are some supplements. So all of these are things that support nervous system. So you may recommend things like lion's mane, which is a medicinal mushroom, not a psychedelic mushroom, but a medicinal mushroom, very well tolerated. Usually not, I can't think of anything that it interacts with off the top of my head, but that's something that I would check, obviously, if someone comes to see me. But has been studied, and it definitely is neuro protective, meaning that it protects the nervous system from more damage. I also do believe that it is neuroregenerative. And so that is something that like I said, that I definitely utilize with my clients that have MS. But there are other things, B vitamins, vitamin D, vitamin C, uh with the alpha lipoic acid, just again, like I said, fish oil. All of these things are really supportive of the nervous system, and like I said, that fat is necessary to help that myelin repair. So that's another thing that I very much recommend. And then, it all depends too on the person. How is your MS affecting you? Are you not able to walk? Right? Then maybe we don't need, I'm not going to recommend you go run, but maybe swimming. You know what I mean?
Mhm,
Swimming takes the buoyancy of the water, takes some weight off of you so that even if you can't walk, or even if you don't know how to swim, you could at least walk the pool with
mhm,
more ease than walking on land. Or let's say it is you're having a lot of fatigue, so we may focus on things that help support good sleep and quality sleep. Um, Again, all of these things are really basic, but I just find that in our society today, our culture dictates that we got to do all of these things and we got to do them now. And so as a result, a lot of times people sacrifice certain aspects of their life. Usually it's their health, right? A lot of times it's their diet, but it's other things too. Do you actually recognize that you have stress? What do you do when you have stress? Um, in regards to holistic health, how is what's the state of your spirit? How does your spirit feel? Do you need assistance in that regard, regardless of your spiritual beliefs or your religious beliefs? Do you have any? Do you want to find some? Do you not have a resource or an outlet or a community that you can come to get spiritual support? And then if you do, or if you don't, let me help you. You know what I mean? So again, all of this is individualized, but it's why I think the clients that I have that are really compliant have such good success is, again, we're addressing more than just the fact that they have a headache, or that that their nerves are being destroyed. um because again, we don't truly know, but I have an inkling that
mhm.
we know that all of this is connected, but we don't truly know to what extent. And so, my point is support it all. Let's optimize your health. Let's optimize and maintain it so that you can be the best you that you want to be for as long as you can, and so that you can do the things that you want to do, because that's the joy of life for me, is being thankful and grateful that I am overall healthy and I am able to do the things that I want to do. And so anyway, that's kind of brief overview
Mhm,
of
mhm.
the sort of treatment or wellness plan that I would put together for someone that has MS. So
That's good. That's good. I think that will give a lot of people just kind of just information on what uh you will go through
mhm,
when you're seeking this type of treatment and whatever. So we have about 5 minutes left,
mhm,
and I wanted to talk about just a little bit about prioritizing health, because
yeah,
that is my campaign that I want to start. Is like you said, we we're in this culture, we're in this movement of we got to do all these things, but something got to go to the side, and typically
yeah,
it's our health, but we don't start taking it serious until we're in a crisis. And
right,
my crisis was MS.
yeah,
So if you could set from a naturopathic viewpoint, holistic viewpoint,
mhm,
the importance of people prioritizing their health in your words.
yeah. So I kind of alluded to this already, right? But we're so busy. We have all of these balls that we have to juggle. If you continue to ignore your health, at some point you're going to start dropping balls. And then as if that continues, you're going to drop all the balls, because at some point your body is going to sit you down. Um, whether it be something simple like a cold, or in the case of another client that I had who was a very stressful businessman, his body set him down by having or inducing a grand mal seizure, and he had never had seizures before. And I think he was in his 40s when this happened,
Mm,
right? I think of my father, who is a hardworking man, and thankfully he was retired at the time, but his body set him down and he had a stroke at the beginning of 2021. Thankfully, he is recovering, and that's also a neurodegenerative
Mhm, mhm,
disease. So
mhm, mhm.
he got some neurological support too. But so the point is, if you it makes sense to me to be proactive. And unfortunately, in our healthcare system, we aren't proactivity in regards to health is not prioritized, right? It's all about being reactive.
Mhm.
You have this happen, something happened, like you said, oh, let's go, let's fix it now. But my feeling is, or my thought is, even if it's something small that you're doing, even if it's just like I said, optimizing um, those basic fundamental pillars of health. That's a step towards prevention, because all of those things, again, like I said, determine how your health is going to be. Um, and so if I could, I would just yell that from the rooftops, like, just please, before something happens. We
Mhm,
already
mhm,
know
mhm,
instinctively that we're
mhm.
doing stuff that isn't right. It's so funny. I do specialize in gut health. So many people will come in, I will ask them, what's your poo look like? And they'll be like, I don't know. I don't look
Remember,
at that. Look at it.
remember, right? Remember, we were in there and you asked me that, and Steven, like, what are you talking? Like, what do you mean? And I'm over, and me and you are having a full conversation. Well, let me tell you, like, what? Because once you start taking your health serious, you gonna talk about your poop. Like,
Yes.
you're going to pay attention to it, and it
Yes.
tells you a lot. Yeah.
And yes, and that's the point. Anything that comes from your body, right? People don't look at their poo. They get sick and they've got like some congestion in their nose. They don't look
You're
and
not
see
looking at what your snot looks
what
like.
comes
Like
out.
what does it look like? Is
Yes.
it yellow? Is it clear? Is it because that's gonna tell you what you're dealing with. Like, and
Yes.
that helped me so much working with little kids, right? The moment I seen green snot, oh, you gotta come get them. They got an
I know
infection.
that's right.
They're like, how you know? Because their snot is green. Green
Yes.
means infection. Like,
Yes. Yes. And so that's part of prioritizing your health, is just paying attention to
mhm,
yourself. I
mhm.
can't I can't express enough that, if you don't take care of yourself, eventually somebody else is going to have to take care of you. And nobody takes care of you or your stuff the way you do. Nobody loves on it the way that you can.
Mhm.
So do that. We have that mentality with our physical things, right? Like, Virginia, you want to borrow my laptop? Now you better return it in the same way that you know what I mean,
Right.
that you got it in, right? But we don't even do that with our bodies, and we should. So please focus on your health. Pay attention to your body. The symptoms that you experience is not something to fix. It's a red light. It's
Mhm,
a um,
mhm.
it's a warning sign that something is going on in your body. So don't ignore it. Go address it before it escalates and becomes worse and turns into something horrible. End of speech.
And that takes us right to the end too. So I want to thank you so much, Dr. Carrie. I feel like crap today, so I'll be coming to see you very soon because I
Oh,
need some help. But I appreciate you for talking to me and talking to the audience. This was amazing.
of
And I'm pretty sure we
course.
might have to do a part two because I know it's gonna be a lot of questions.
Well, we totally can.
So I thank you so much, and you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for having me. You too.
All right,
Bye.
bye bye.